show you a color retouch. So just a reminder, again, it's the cape, the gloves, the safety glasses, the mask, now working in the salon. I'm going to take it off because, again, I'm in my salon and there's nobody here, and you won't be able to hear me as well with the mask on. So if anybody walks in, you'll see that I put it back on, but for right now we don't need it. So for a color retouch, what we're going to do is you're going to divide the hair into 4 sections. Okay? So when you do a color retouch, you're looking for a line of demarcation. A line of demarcation is just where you previously colored the hair to the last time they were in. If they've never had a color before, it's going to be called a virgin color. But for today's demo, I'm going to do a color retouch. And let's pretend that they have maybe a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch of gray showing. So this is what you would do for a color retouch. You would obviously mix up their color. And then to start, divide the hair into 4. You want to make sure you get a good amount of product on your brush. So, kind of nice and neat. The way I like to do it is I like to start right here. This is where most people's grays are, so we want to make sure that we completely cover every little bit around their face. So when you kids start working in the salon at Smith Vogue, what I'll ask you to do is just go around the smile, like around the rainbow of the head or rainbow of the face. It's just talking about right here. I just want you to cover that first. And then what I like you to do is I like you to go right down the center. Now, as you'll notice, when I take my color and I do it, I hit both sides at the same time. I don't do one side and then come back and do the other side. It's going to be more efficient in the salon just to hit both sides at the same time with your brush. So you're going to go right down the center, and then you would start in the front quadrant. It doesn't matter which side you start on, you're just going to pick one. You want to take about a 1/2 inch sections, tiny sections, because if their hair is very dark and they're going blonde, you don't want to be taking such thick sections where you might miss a piece of hair. If you miss a piece of hair because you took too big of a section, they're going to have dark blotches at their scalp, and you don't want that. They're going to be coming back asking you to redo their color because you didn't do it well. So we take 1/2 inch sections. I kind of like to work diagonal. I always start right at the face, and I just start taking about a 1/2 inch slices going back. Again, making sure there's complete saturation. When I say complete saturation, I mean I really want the hair to be covered. And try not to press this hair or you're going to have it bleed into the hair that's already been colored. So you've got to be gentle with that, no pressing. And just working your way back. Taking again a 1/2 inch sections. Make sure your lines are nice and neat so you know where you're going. Making sure you completely saturate the hair. There's no need to press with your color. I know when kids first start, they think by pressing the color into the hair does a better job. For some reason, it's not necessary. You just dab it on. The color has ammonia in it, which is going to open our cuticle because it's higher than our pH, which is 4.5 to 5.5. So ammonia has a higher pH of that. It's going to open the cuticle, and the peroxide, hydrogen peroxide, is going to allow the color molecules to penetrate into the cortex layer. So there's a chemical reaction going on in which you don't need to really physically press the color into the hair. Just get it on there as quick as possible and let it do its thing. And the reason why I say as quick as possible, it's because color is already processing, right? So the minute it kind of hits the head, it's sort of already going. So you kind of want to be a little quick at this, and you'll obviously get faster with time. And then what you want to do is make sure you always outline the perimeter. So the only place I didn't do was down here, above her ear. So right now, this whole quadrant has been done. It's nice and thoroughly saturated. What you want to do is you want to cross-check opposite the way you went through it. Same with hair cutting, you're going to cross-check always opposite. So I'm going to do a horizontal line because I colored vertical. So I'm just checking and making sure that I didn't miss any spots. When you miss a spot, we call it a holiday. And there's going to be a spot in their hair that didn't get colored. So this side looks great. You're going to immediately move right into this section, okay? So again, enough product on your brush. I gently comb out the hair before I get started. And if I ever get any on the skin, I try to wipe it up really quick with a towel or my finger because it will stain. If it's a very dark hair color, sometimes I put conditioner around the hairline so it doesn't stain them. Before you get started on a client, if they have just, come from work or whatever, their hair has been done for the day, they have products, hairsprays, mousse, a good idea is to lightly, gently brush the hair. And I don't mean brush the hair where you're scraping scalp. If you're scraping scalp, you're going to open their skin up for some kind of irritation. And this is a chemical we're putting on their head. Well, not today it isn't. This is just conditioner, but typically it's a chemical. And it's going to irritate their skin if you have brushed too aggressively. So it's a very, very gentle brush. And it shouldn't even really be at scalp, right? Most people have their product more so towards the ends, and that's what's going to tangle on you. So I just want to make sure that you don't scrape their scalp. I'm just going to move around the mannequin a little bit, always making sure that you're working comfortable for yourself. And keeping the hair out of their face. You don't want color falling into your client's face, so try to start to be cognizant of that so you're not getting it in their eyes. Again, just working vertical 1/2 inch sections again, and we're hitting both sides like so. And just dabbing it on and letting it do its job. These are great money makers in the salon. I'm going to be honest, I do a lot of color retouches. As a matter of fact, I have 2 clients coming in tonight. One does a color retouch with a cap highlighting. My other client just does a color retouch and I pull it, refresh her ends, which I'll show you after I'm done this. So now this section is done. So we've got the front 2 quadrants done, okay? So you always, again, just as a recap, around the face to start, down the center part. Doesn't matter what side you start on, but start on one side, finish, 1/2 inch sections, start on the next side, around the face, and finish, okay? These 2 back sections are gonna be left for last. So always quickly cross-check through your work to make sure that you didn't miss any holidays. We don't want splotchy colors. Clients will come back to you, particularly if they see it right around their face because you didn't do a good job applying. So now moving on to the back. This might be kind of tricky, so pay attention, and it might take you a while to kind of get this down. So I like to work across 3 and 4. I call these sections 3 and 4. This is 1 and 2, or 1 and 2, doesn't matter, 3 and 4, 4 and 3, whatever. But these back 2 sections, I like to work strictly across, and I will take my sections right to where the front was colored and right to where the front is colored, okay? So, if I can pull our head down, I hope you can see this. So, you can see where we left off. I'm going to take a 1/2 inch section at the crown, and I'm going to hit the hair. And as you go, as you can imagine, the width of the head's going to get wider, right? So we're going to have to work going across the back of the head. So I take it from the front color line, apply product, moving straight across to the other side where there's product. Again, working straight across. So this way, the reason why I like to work through 3 and 4 is because the color will process more symmetrical, and the color will process from here down, opposed to having one side processed greater than the other side. Because if you think about it, depending on how long it takes you to get a color retouch on, different parts of the hair could be sitting for different amounts of time, because it takes you longer to get to the back. So straight across the back. Completely covering. Straight across the back. Straight across, nice 1/2 inch section still. And you're just meeting those front lines. You just want to make it all the way across, meeting the front 2 sections. Trying to keep my arm out of the way so you can see. I'm not doing a great job on this side because I don't want to be standing in front of the video, but making sure you go all the way to the other side. Sorry, ran out of conditioner. In the salon, you're going to run out of color. It happens. You're just going to have to go to the back and mix up a little bit more. So again, 1/2 inch sections, working straight across the back. And last but not least, sorry if I'm in the way. Oops. It's not always good when I'm trying to not be in your face. Sorry, that was a boo-boo. I wouldn't want to do that in real life, but it's okay. It's a mannequin. Even if you did it on a real client, it wouldn't be the end of the world. You could just pinch it off with your fingers or take a towel and wipe it really quick if you were worried about damage. The main thing is you don't want color overlapping color. That's why you have to look at the line of demarcation and decide how long has it been since their last color. Most of my clients come every 4 or 5 weeks. And as we know, hair grows roughly 1/2 inch a month, sometimes a little faster in the summer. So most clients, I'm only doing 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch retouch every time. If your client, is coming every 10 weeks, you're looking at 2 months, if not a little bit more, 2 months and 2 weeks of regrowth, and that's going to be a little over an inch, right? About 1.25 inches. So the line of demarcation is going to be different depending on how long they are willing to go between hair color retouches. And if you get here, you just want to ask your client, if they can put their head down a little, it might help you. If you're having a hard time in the nape of the neck, people don't mind helping you out. If you just ask them nicely to please, tilt your head down, I'm sure they will do it. And making sure you come all the way to the bottom. on this side. I don't want to be in front of the video, but I just want to make sure I got it all. Yeah, I did. Okay, so last thing, you've worked through the back 3 and 4, right? But you forgot to go around perimeter, correct? So what we want to make sure we do is in the end, when you get 3 and 4 colored, you lift up their hairline, you make sure you get the nape of their neck, and make sure you come around to the sides and connect it, okay? So you're going right along here. You want to always make sure that you've covered everywhere, right along the perimeter of the hair, right, sorry if that's not in the video, right around the perimeter of the hairline, making sure everything is covered. Again, in the back, I went horizontal, not vertical, so I'm going to cross-check vertical. So get in there, split the hair apart, and as you notice, there's color. I can see color at her scalp. It would be a real shame for you to get through this, not use enough color, and see at the end when you rinse her hair and blow dry her hair that you didn't use enough color. A, her color's not going to last as long because you skimped on color. It's like using a paintbrush but not using enough paint, right? It's very light and it fades quickly. You really want to get in there and make sure you're using the right amount of product, taking the right amount of sections, and completely saturating. What the kids hear me say a lot in the salon when we're doing clients, obviously, is I ask them to refresh the hair color. And a lot of kids are like, Miss Gilman, I don't understand what that means, so I'm going to show you what that means. So when Miss Gilman says, I want you to refresh the hair colors, it means that her ends have faded. Maybe it's summer, maybe she's out in the sun, or maybe he's out in the sun, or maybe they have some highlights that they want to kind of get rid of. So when I ask you to refresh the ends, I just ask kids, now this would process. If you just left it as a color retouch, they don't want to refresh the ends, you're just going to let it process the amount of time based on the manufacturer's directions. If they want to pull the color through the ends and refresh them, you would let the hair color process until the last 5 minutes. So if it was supposed to process for 30 minutes, in about 25 minutes, you're going to come over to your client, you're going to spray down their ends because it helps to kind of have the color glide better. You're not going to rinse what's left in your bowl. So if they want their ends refreshed, this is really important. Whatever is left over in your bowl for extra, you can doctor it up with a little bit of water, a little bit of extra conditioner to make it spread easier. I need to get a little bit more just to refresh your ends, and I'll show you how that's done. So there doesn't need to be a lot left in your bowl to make this happen. So you just want to take whatever extra color you have and just slightly bring it through her ends. You can put a little shampoo with it. It's also known as like a soap cap if you put a little shampoo with it. I like to do some of my color refreshers without the shampoo. I kind of just like the color, to be honest. So once you get it all in there, whatever's left from your bowl, you're going to pull from the scalp straight through the ends. And you always want to allow the hair to oxidize. So after I'm done doing a color refresher, and when the color retouch is just sitting for that matter, you just want to go ahead and lightly allow air to get at your hair colors. Color is not going to process if it doesn't have a little oxygen. So we just want to kind of go through gently at the scalp. Don't be scraping her scalp with a color brush. You just want to sort of let that hair oxidize. And usually for a color refresher, I'm just going to let it sit about 5 more minutes. And she will have a 1/2 inch color retouch done, which we processed for as much time as manufacturer's directions. And then for the last 5 minutes, I just refreshed her ends with whatever was left over in my color bowl. with a little bit of water. And then I pulled the color at her scalp, literally through her ends with my hands, not with a brush, just with my hands gently, and then fluffed it up so oxygen could get at it and it could continue processing for 5 minutes. That's it. That's your color retouch. Thank you.